I think each and every one of us has a primal drive to discover who we are and where we fit in the world. For singers, this search for significance is often played out in the question, what kind of voice do I have? At this point, it would be all too easy to give the stock standard reply of, why, you have a unique voice. Superficially, at least, we all know we're individuals with a limited edition, one-of-a-kind voice. But the question still stands. What kind of voice do you have? Is it a rock voice, a jazz voice, a classical voice? Well, in my professional experience, the answer is actually quite simple. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to help you identify the type of voice that you have and what repertoire it might be best suited to.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Dan and I'm a contemporary singing voice specialist, and for the past 2 decades I've been helping singers just like you to discover the full potential of their voice, and that's exactly what I'm hoping today's video will do for you. Develop your voice and improve your sound. Now, it's a frustration I hear expressed by many beginner singing students. What kind of voice do I have? It seems a simple enough question, but I think it emanates from the very core of who we are as singers. Who am I? Why am I here? Can my voice matter? These are all pretty deeply seated questions, and I'm certainly not a psychologist, so I'm not going to unpack the psyche of the singer in a short 5-minute video, but it is important to understand where your primal desires come from first, so that we can arrive at a productive conclusion second. So before progressing further, allow me to pose the question back at you, why do you sing? Now, please don't dismiss the question away as a fruitless exercise in navel gazing. This is an important question. The answer, and there isn't a wrong answer, will help to determine the conclusion you might arrive at towards the end of today's video. So again, why do you sing? Is it for self-expression? Do you do it for praise and external reward? Or are you simply in the singing game to make money? Don't apply any judgment to your honest answer. Just reply truthfully and honestly.
Sound check.
With your reason for singing in mind, now ask yourself this question. What genre, that is, what type of music, immediately springs to thought when you consider your reason for singing? Another way to approach this is to close your eyes and picture yourself on a stage singing in front of an audience. What are you singing? Is it a rock song, music theatre, folk? More often than not, the type of song you imagine yourself singing is indicative of the genre you gravitate towards. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, I see myself singing jazz, but everyone thinks I have a belt voice, which is more suited to music theatre. Well, firstly, I disagree with the premise that people have a set type of voice. This idea, if taken literally, would suggest that we're all born with a specific type of voice. Sure, we're all born with the DNA that will determine the anatomical structure of our voice, its size, range, and resulting general classification, soprano, alto, tenor and bass, but no one is ever born with a jazz voice, for example. If that were the case, what did all the jazz voice people, born prior to the 20th century, sing? Nothing, because jazz didn't emerge until the early 1900s. So simply, this is not just a case of nature. You know what you're born with. As is often the case, we must add the aspect of nurture to our considerations. For example, I grew up in regional Australia. During my developmental years, I was surrounded by mostly white, Caucasian, right-wing, conservative Christians. Because of my parents' strong beliefs, I was only allowed to listen to Christian music. So while all my friends were enjoying Dire Straits, David Bowie and Prince, I was listening to Michael W. Smith, Petra and Amy Grant. These early influences definitely shaped the singer I am today. Even now, I prefer to sing adult contemporary music that is driven by a meaningful lyric and challenging melody. My upbringing has most certainly influenced the way I choose to express myself musically. Is it any wonder that when I found myself in an undergraduate music degree singing classical music, that it just never gelled? It was the wrong fit. But what might be the wrong fit for me may well be the right fit for someone who has grown up surrounded by classical music their whole life. You see, it's both nature and nurture at play. You have no say over the voice type you were born with, but you do have a say over what type of repertoire you want to apply your biology to.
Sound check.
As we close today's video, allow me to remind you that singing is not about perfect notes, it's about communication. If you've been a long-term subscriber of my videos, you'll have heard me say this many times, but today it has particular relevance because it can also help direct how we choose to use our voice. When I was singing classical music, I felt no connection to the music I was singing. The sad result of my disconnection was an audience that also felt disconnected. I simply wasn't able to communicate effectively through the medium of classical repertoire. And more importantly, I didn't want to. Hook me up with an adult contemporary song and I'll communicate until the cows come home. So ask yourself, of the times that you've sung, whether it be for a small or large audience, what genre were you singing when you made that connection? What repertoire can you really communicate? Nature, nurture, and communication. Actively reflect on these three aspects of your singing, and I'm fairly confident that you will, at the very least, narrow down the type of music you should be singing with the instrument that God has given you. One final point before I finish. Identifying the type of voice that you have and the genres you should be singing has its limits. For example, if you're a pro vocal earning your money from gigging and session work, then you have to step up to a whole other level. Regardless of genre, you can sell the song and entertain your audience. Today's video is really targeted at those among us who are perhaps starting out on their vocal development journey and are keen to establish who they are and what type of music they should be singing. Has today's video been helpful? I hope so. Leave me a thumbs up and a comment below outlining the type of music you love to sing. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, g'day, welcome to Voice Essentials. Allow me to invite you over to my channel for more learning to sing fun. I release new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'd love for you to subscribe and join my ever-growing community of singers from across the globe who, just like you, want to raise their voice in song. But for now, I'll sign off. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.